Hey dudes and dudettes, what's up gang? It's me, Content Creator Man. I wanted to talk to all of you about stuff and things right here on the internet channel. Yep, it's another video about tiers. Buckle up. We're going to talk about what it means to be top tier in a fighting game. So, what does it mean for a character to be top tier? Well, it means that character is the best. But what does the best even really mean? Well, Content Creator Man, being top tier means you're the best. It means you're better than everyone else. But seriously, what does the best even really mean? What does being better than another character even really mean? It's not clearly defined, is it? And what it means is going to differ depending on who you ask. Being the best means they win the most. It means they lose the least. It means they make me the angriest. It means they have the best results. It means they're the easiest. Or maybe it means they have the most potential. Also, I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm getting over a cold right now, so if I sound a little weird, I can't even tell because my ears are so clogged up, I don't even know what I sound like, so I'm hoping this is okay. So who the best is gets even more complicated when you consider team-based fighting games. Sometimes there are characters that are not considered the strongest point characters, but those characters somehow fit onto almost every team at a high competitive level just because their assist is really strong, or they're really flexible, or it's just because they're a really stable anchor to close out a round when you need to. So in a team-based fighting game, you might need different tier lists for each position on a team. So you might have a point character tier list, a mid character tier list, an anchor character tier list, assist tier list, or maybe it's better to just make tier lists for the team compositions and shells that you see most commonly in tournaments. Is the best character the one with the strongest possible team? Or maybe the best character is the one that fits onto the most teams possible? So when someone says that this character is the best character, or this character is top tier, oftentimes it's mostly just based on a gut feeling. And for each different person, that gut feeling is based on different things, whether they know it or not. It's based on different experiences and different emotions. I always lose to this character. I always see this character do super well in tournaments, so they must be good. That character seems so easy. And occasionally, in a more positive light, they'll think, well, I play this character, I think they're really good, and I think they have potential. So it's kind of the opposite of downplaying. It's believing to the extreme in your own character. But a lot of the time, the characters that someone believes are top tier are usually just the ones that give them the hardest time personally. It's their demons. Their demons must be top tier, right? Otherwise, there's no good explanation for losing to them so much of the time. Unless, maybe, you're just bad, Timmy. Maybe, if you spent some time in training mode and learned how to solve some problems once in a while, you'd get some wins on your record. Timmy? I don't actually know a Timmy, that's why I chose that name. If there's any Timmys watching this, feel free to leave a dislike on the video, I'm not gonna see it anyway. One common reason people tend to put characters in top tier is simply because that character has achieved some good tournament results. And I don't think that's a bad way of thinking about things. The results don't lie after all. But you also have to look at those results over a long period of time because a single tournament isn't necessarily an indicator of a character being the best. And even more goes into a tournament win than just the character. Obviously, the player is involved as well. Who's playing them? Who's in the driver's seat? And what kind of bracket did they have to go through in order to win? What bad matchups did they run into, if any? Sometimes you just get a good bracket, I admit that. I got 5th place at Pinnacle with Gold Lewis, and to be perfectly honest, I think my bracket wasn't that bad. I might have run into good players like Sonic Fox and Kizzy, but I didn't really run into any matchups that make my character feel helpless. Another thing to think about, tournaments can be a place where ease of use is a really important factor. I used to believe that a character's potential meant more than how easy they were to play, but now I believe that both are important at a high level. You gotta believe that your character is strong at a high level, but in a high-pressure situation like a tournament, having simple, easy, consistent tools to use makes mistakes less likely to occur. We are all human after all. Okay, enough hypotheticals and questions. Here's the part of the video where I tell you what I think. But as a disclaimer, I will say that I don't believe there is a single best way to determine who is a top-tier character. This is just the way I think about it as a longtime competitive player with a decent decent amount of tournament experience. Most of the way I think about this is going to be from the perspective of what character is going to consistently be able to make it through a bracket, because that's what I care about, tournaments and improving. So, I believe that the character who loses the least amount of matchups is the best character in the game, and it's not the character that crushes the most characters the hardest. So basically, losing less is better than winning more. Is that weird? Let me explain what I mean by that. So imagine an evil character who crushes your main. They make you feel like you have very few options, and you're almost always at a disadvantage. Your main's tools just don't interact with this evil character in a very good way. And that's just the way it is. You are experiencing what is known as a bad matchup. And as it turns out, a handful of other characters also hate fighting the evil character. They also have bad matchups with him. To many of you, he is your worst matchup. The evil character beats your character harder and more convincingly than anyone else. So, they're the best character, right? After all, they make you the angriest, and they beat a bunch of characters extremely convincingly. Well, no, they're not the best character. This evil character also happens to get demolished by a handful of other characters in the cast. Maybe even against characters that your character does well against. And this is just the nature of characters with polarizing matchups. They play the game in a unique way, and they have unique tools and unique problems as well. Characters that can't exploit those problems tend to have trouble in those matchups, but characters that can exploit those weaknesses do a very good job and fight those characters really well. So, do you have an evil character in mind that ruins your day? For the sake of this example, I was thinking about Axel from Guilty Gear Strive. But in Guilty Gear Strive, Axel is not the best. The thought of him crossing paths with a good Geo, Milia, or Chip sends shivers down his spine. And on the flip side, the thought of Gold Lewis or Potemkin or maybe a few other characters having to fight Axel definitely ruins their day too. It's just the nature of fighting games when you're playing polarizing characters. Even top tiers will have bad matchups. Alright, question time. Here's a hypothetical situation. Which character do you think is the best character? Okay, first, hypothetical character A. They go even with the entire cast. They don't win or lose any matchups. So long as they put the work in to learn their matchups, they will always stand a chance against any character. But on the flip side, their opponent will always have a similar chance if they've put the work in as well. Alright, and hypothetical character B. This character absolutely demolishes most of the cast. They've got 7-3 matchups in their favor almost across the board. Fighting against this character feels overwhelming and pisses off most of the player base. However, this character happens to lose to just 3 other characters pretty badly. Just 3 awful matchups. To add insult to injury, one of the characters they lose to is an easy-to-play bottom tier, but the entire rest of the cast fears their very existence. So, in this situation, hypothetical character A has to work hard, but can overcome any matchup through experience. And hypothetical character B gets easy wins against most of the cast, but they will struggle to beat just 3 very specific characters, no matter how much they prepare and how much effort they put in. So, who do you prefer? Who's top tier in your eyes? Personally, I prefer character A, a character that can fight their way through an entire tournament bracket without needing to counterpick at all. Sounds pretty top tier to me. They're stable, and their results will likely reflect the strength of the player who's playing them. But this is all coming from the perspective of someone who is a competitive player and has been traveling to tournaments on and off for a pretty long time. Almost my entire perspective on fighting games has been shaped by growth as a player and my experiences trying to compete. Your experiences and preferences for characters could be a lot different. Also, in this hypothetical situation, I didn't tell you anything about how these characters play, what resources are available for them, how hot they are. There's a lot that goes into picking a character. Anyway, what's the point of this video? Well, I wanted to ramble about something I've been thinking about for a while, so there's that. And I guess I just wanted people to reflect on what top tier really means to them. And I hope in the future anyone who makes tier lists or wants to talk about which characters they believe are the best can do a better job of explaining their reasoning. Just something to think about. I really don't want to drag this topic on any farther than I already have, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. And if you didn't, hit that dislike button, but no one will believe you. I can't even see it. I'll see you all next time.